deep diving into the stories behind some of your favourite brands, from chats with founders to insights from some top marketers and e-com operators. We're going to discover how they're building, scaling and learning in the ever-evolving D2C landscape. And I'm really excited to introduce my guest for today, Liam. Hi, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me. Nice one. Hello,
Do you want
everyone.
to tell us a little bit about you and your brand? Give us a bit of an intro.
I am CEO, founder of Power Cacao. I started the brand the end of 2021, so we're just over 3 years old. I'd been working with cacao for since 2012, so it's like 13 years now. I was basically on I was going to call it a suicide mission then, but I was really suicidally depressed, and I was like just searching for purpose and meaning. And I was in Guatemala, and I was over that kind of side of the world, building off-grid sustainable buildings, earthships they're called. Some of you might have seen a film called Garbage Warriors, which is all about sort of building sustainable off-grid autonomous buildings. But most importantly, I was over there doing ayahuasca because I wanted to not feel suicidal anymore. Or I'd kind of made this pact with myself that I was like giving myself 3 years to either find something worth living for or just like check out. And then I stumbled across this guy called the Cacao Shaman. And I sat with him and I learned all about cacao, the fact that I'd been eating chocolate my whole life, never knew that it come from a tree, never knew that it was actually in its rawest form. It was a superfood. It was really good for you. Never knew that the Mayans used it actually as a plant medicine in ceremonies to heal. So I kind of went on a big healing journey myself, become a yoga teacher. From that moment of working with the Cacao Shaman for probably about, I don't know, maybe like a month, pretty solid, going to all of his events. And then I come back and I always had cacao with me. So I'd gone from like being a drug dealer and always having drugs and always going to a new city and finding drugs to go and have a party with, to like always having cacao with me. And then always when I was in a city trying to find like the yoga studio to go to or some, breath work or meditation things wherever I was in the world. And yeah, it just kind of was this switch. And then as I was growing as a healer, as a teacher, as a yoga teacher, as a kind of like, like a self-motivator, self-improvement person for people, then cacao was kind of incorporated into all of that. And it didn't really become my main focus until like 2020. And obviously during COVID, I just kept putting on these cacao ceremonies and they kept like selling out in my tent. And then people asked me to start teaching them. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So me and my friend wrote this course together of everything that I did, because he'd come and he was like, actually, there's a lot to it, but you've just picked up all these skills over the years and not noticed your progression. So you're kind of unconsciously competent. He said, we need to make you consciously competent. So we then brought it into a training manual. We started training people. They kept selling out and the events got bigger and bigger. So I had always from a tent in my back garden to like yoga studios to then halls to now like gig venues where we get 400 or 500 people at the events, which is incredible, just on that side of one of my businesses. And then from people asking me to teach them and then kind of going with that, I was like, right, I want to find the best cacao in the world and start a brand. And I remembered that the Cacao Shaman was like, cacao will take over from coffee as the #1 morning drink by 2032 because of its superfood benefits, its natural antidepressant, all the goodness that's in it, the fact it's so good for women, perimenopausal, menopausal, lead up to period, during period, which inadvertently makes it really good for men or their partner, whoever it is. So it's like, it's full of iron, it's full of magnesium, really high in calcium. It's amazing. It's the most antioxidant rich food that exists on planet Earth. It's got 15 times more antioxidants than blueberries, so that's why it's used a lot in the cosmetics industry for creams and moisturizers and all that sort of stuff. Really good for your gut health, amazing for your cognition, gets you like out of your head into your heart space. And cacao, like the consciousness of cacao is like on a spiritual level is all about opening people's hearts, getting rid of the stuff that is not aligned with who they truly are based on like upbringing, government, parental conditioning, school conditioning. There's so many people who are not doing what makes the heart sing, and cacao's always about making people's hearts sing. And Cacao understands that if people are living their life purpose, there is no such thing as anxiety, depression. Like when you're on track and you know where you're doing, you get up every day, you've got a purpose, you know, depression and anxiety doesn't really exist in that realm. So Cacao's all about getting everybody on the planet living their life purpose. And if we could get everybody to switch from coffee to cacao, like tomorrow, the world would be an instantly different place within like 2 days, 3 days. Do you know what I mean? It'd be incredible. So yeah. So then I went on a journey with the brand, started the brand the end of 2021, and then kind of just went with that. And I was like doing really well, not putting any money into ads. When we eventually got an ads team involved after Dragons, well, just lead up to Dragons then being aired, they were like, how the hell are you doing this? And I was just like, I've just been hustling. I've been going to every event, like making sure that my branding's amazing. Everybody sees my stall or like, you know, shell scheme at a big trade event, and they're just like, wow, what is this? This is different than everything else here. And then spent like 2 years just educating people at events, even like spiritual events, more kind of like mind, body, spirit, yoga events. It was just education, education, education. And Cacao was kind of where yoga was at when I first started that, like in 2011. Nobody really knew much about it. They kind of heard of it, whereas now people hadn't even heard of Cacao when I started. Now most people have heard of it because of Dragons Den, and because it's been such a, you know, kind of like not trend really. It's just been like an upward spiral, an upward curve towards cacao and cacao education and what it's good for. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mad journey, and then obviously going on Dragons Den just propelled us to another level that was like ridiculous, and then just trying to hold on to that now. And I'm not a businessman. My background is acting, dealing drugs, partying, music, just creative pursuits, and then going into business. You know, it's just winging it. And learning on the job. But yeah, like now I've just come out of the back of a lorry, like handballing off the containers just come from Venezuela with our recent order, like 10,000 kg of ceremonial grade cacao. So again, that with cacao as well, a lot of your audience will think cacao is one thing, and it's not. It's like wine. You have the creme de la creme of the cacao tree and the cacao plant, which is like the best quality. But then you've also got the people who grow that, the conditions that certain plant's grown in, its pH level, its soil level, its moisture content, its wind, its companion trees that are around it. So there's so much that goes into it. So for example, like the cacao we get is globally known as the #1 place on earth to grow ceremonial grade cacao. Yeah. However, you take those nursery plants from there and plant them somewhere else, they'll be totally different. Yeah. So it's in the earth. So when I was over there doing business and going and meeting loads of suppliers, I was in these meetings. I'm dressed like this, and they're all in suits. I don't know how they can be in suits in that heat. It's intense. I had hardly any clothes on and just like dripping in water like everywhere I went, and I was just like in these meetings, and these people are so interested in the spiritual side of it that I tap into. They don't understand it, but then I would ask them like, why is this cacao so good? Because the other cacao regions that grow it in Venezuela, I don't like the cacao. I wouldn't use it in my events. I wouldn't use it for my brand. I wouldn't put my name on it. And I went, why is it? And then 3 separate meetings, the like CEO went, it's just a blessing from the gods. And I was like, what? Like, the next guy is just a blessing from the gods. I was like, okay, that's good enough for me. They know all the science. They know everything about that side of it, which doesn't interest me. I've had to learn a bit of it, but it's a blessing from the gods is the most important thing I could ever hear for my business, because that's the integral thing of my business, is that we stay aligned with like yogic philosophy, with shamanic teachings, with the history of cacao, the indigenous tribes, how they used it. So that's the biggest thing. If that, like I tell everybody who comes on board in my business, I went, if you steer away from that, if you don't realize the best thing for our business is for me to grow as a yoga teacher and for me to grow as a spiritual leader, like you're not getting what the business is about. That will have the best impact for our business than anything else. Yeah. So it's like for me to keep growing and me being the main brand asset, which has taken me a little bit of time to get my head around, but now I'm like, okay, let's do it. So yeah, is that all right?
That answers it, yeah. Good. And what made you like think that Dragons Den was the next right step for you guys? Because it feels like that's, you know, like raising, it feels corporate and it feels like not as like I don't know. No, it's what brands do.
No, I get you.
It seems
Loads
different.
of people have asked the question. One of my mates said you should go on it, you'll smash it. Infiltrate the masses from the inside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit 7 million people in one night who'd never heard of cacao, never heard of cacao. So it's like I will use any technique possible, which doesn't mean I'm aligned with the philosophy of the BBC or whatever. However, it's like the whole cacao's not going to take over from coffee if you don't use corporate mechanisms, systems. Like loads of people say, oh, you sell out, it's corporate, it's whatever. It's like, how else do you get a shipping container of cacao to the UK? A little man in a boat's not gonna pedal it over, so that you've not spent money with different companies. It's impossible. You have to start being a business person and going into the corporate, and that's cool. And my emergence is coming to events like yours and coming to other events is for people to see a different perspective of how you can operate within that from a heart-centered space where you want to do good in the world. And it's not just about like margins, money. My biggest thing is how many lives have I changed this year? How many people have like stepped up on their journey to a better version of themselves, everything's about how do we get human beings to their full power vibration. That's the whole thing. And if I do that through the BBC, through CNN, through whoever, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? Anyone slags me off, couldn't give a fuck. I'll fly over you in my plane when I'm going doing good all over the world. Do you know what I mean? So I don't care.
And what do you think's been one of the most like surprising things that you didn't expect you could do, or something that you didn't know you had in you until you started on this journey?
I guess just like having employees and stuff and trying to manage that. Like, and sometimes I walk into my factory and I'm like, I'm the boss. What's going on? Like, this is all mine. Like how have I done this? Like, all these people are working for me. I'm like, how have I done this? Like, because a lot of people that I grew up with would say I'm the last person they'd think that I'd be doing sort of the spiritual side of it, and now to like merge that with the business. And it was all about me. The biggest thing for me was I never expected this to be. I thought I was going to be like a world famous yoga teacher. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm becoming a world famous yoga teacher through my cacao, which is like, because a yoga teacher is someone who just propels people towards self-realization and enlightenment, propels people towards a better version of themselves, to get them on a different level on their path of who they should be, what their life purpose is, what makes them happy, how much joy they're spreading to other people. And that can be like through whatever, breath work, counseling, yoga, actual physical yoga, pranayama, meditation, whatever it is, these higher levels of yoga. And through the cacao ceremonies, I really get to do that. And through people drinking the cacao just in the house, like so many people email us all the time just saying, oh my God, I feel totally different. Like, I feel like my heart's opened. I feel like a new me's emerged from just drinking your cacao. And we're just like, that's incredible, like just amazing. I think the most difficult things are just like stuff like cash flow, and it's just like, what the hell, man? Like, you're sending 150 grand to Venezuela. Like, I don't even own a house and I'm sending 150 grand to Venezuela. And it's like, it's mental. And then you're kind of dealing with like the government stealing your money, all the time, which is, I don't like that. And it's like, how do you navigate that? How can you stop them stealing all your money? How can you be more kind of like savvy with your, everything that you do? And just I think, like, I went to Parliament yesterday. I was in the House of Parliament, whatever it is, House of Commons, whatever. No, Houses of Parliament. I didn't go in the House of Commons. They wouldn't let me in there. It's just I thought there was loads of little boys arguing, but apparently it was loads of men arguing with each other, but it sounded like little boys to me. And then in the other side, in the House of Lords, it's just loads of old men sleeping. We nearly got in there, actually. The security wasn't so hot.
And what was you doing there? What was that all about?
We got asked to go there by Royal Mail as one of their like top businesses, like small and medium-sized enterprises. And it was just like a launch of one of their schemes, their apprenticeship schemes, which they put in like I think they're putting like £1 million into apprenticeship scheme. So we met like met a few MPs, met our local MP, which was Cud. He actually wasn't even part of the thing. He just found out we were going to be there and come and said hello, which was amazing. A guy called Ben Lake. And yeah, it was just a little gathering and a little kind of like networking thing. In the Houses of Parliament, which was interesting.
And how do you like connecting with other like people in the space, like other founders? Do you feel like you learn a lot from others?
A little bit, yeah, but most of them events I just find boring as fuck. Like, so boring that event yesterday. It was just like I'm just listening to bullshit that I don't understand, and like I'm like, but it's good to be there. It's good. I made some good contacts.
Yeah.
But generally, like your event, is for me that's boring. I'd rather be sat meditating for 5 hours than listening to people talk about spreadsheets or but I'm like,
my events aren't boring.
No, your events aren't boring. They are for me though. Like for me, they are. Like that's not my part in the orchestra of my business. Yeah. So it's better for me to be there, network a bit, which is cool. And then the people who work for me listen. You listen to this because it doesn't
not going in.
Doesn't need to go in my brain. That's not my. For business owners as well. It's like knowing what your part of the orchestra is. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've just been handballing about 5,000 kilos of cacao out of the back of the lorry, but I enjoy that. Because I've always worked on building sites, so it's like I like that physical.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I don't have to do that anymore. But stuff like spreadsheets, accounting, and stuff like that, it's beyond me. But like cash flow stuff, I've had to get on that. It's like, where can we hustle? Like where we, you end up getting loads of money in, and you end up wasting so much money you waste because you're not efficient enough. But because it's chicken and egg, you've got so much going on that you can't quite cancel all those things. The money's going out, or go, do we need that? Do we need that? Is that freelancer giving us value? Are we getting worth from that or that app? And then sometimes it's like, right, let's just stop, man. Stop everything. Let's assess how everything's going. But because as a startup, it's so fast paced. And you don't, everybody's doing like 5-10 jobs each.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like slowly building the team where people are like have specific roles, which is interesting and exciting at the same time.
Have you ever lent on a mentor or had anyone to kind of help guide you from like the business side of things to help you grow in that role?
Well, I have Peter Jones's team, who are great, and I speak to John from Peter Jones's team. I basically have I'm not there every week, but my team have a cash flow meeting with every week. If I've got a problem, I can give him a shout. If we're struggling with something or need any advice, he's on the end of the phone all the time. There's a guy from Stephen Bartlett's team called Danny. He doesn't work for him anymore, but he's been really supportive and kind of like where there's a couple of times where I thought I'd just destroyed the business. I thought I'd messed the whole thing up. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, and made and he's just gone, actually, what if we try and do this? Can we clear this? Can we reduce the terms? Can we change the terms? It's like, okay, I didn't sleep for 4 nights because I was just worried about it. Because, when it was just me,
it's hard.
Like, it's only me that's going to lose. But now I've got employees, you're kind of going, they've got mortgages to pay. They've got to be paid at the end of the month, and that's the most important thing for me, is that everybody who works for me is paid at the end of the month. Like, and even if it means me not taking a wage, I don't care. It's like that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think like as a founder, it's really difficult to know like sometimes what the right move is to make, isn't it? What has been like your definition of success since you've like started the business or since you've launched?
The definition of success is the emails that we get from people that have had huge life shifts since consuming our product or coming to some of my cacao ceremonies. The feedback from that, the more exposure that my book's got, which is called Dealer to Healer, and how that has such a massive effect on people's journey of like awakening or becoming a better version of himself or fulfilling their potential. And then I guess these little things that I buzz off, because I've been on a massive abundance journey. I came from poverty consciousness, and I've only been on that abundance journey since 2020. That's when it all started, where I was like, right, I want to become abundant. I don't have to be to be a yoga teacher, to be a spiritual like leader, I don't have to be in poverty. I can be abundant. And I just was asking God, the universe, like, how do I do that? And I started reading the books. I started consuming all the right books for me, and just learning from that. So, you know, when it comes to things like that, like for me, it's like I bought a house, finally, bought a house for the business, reaching like £1 million online sales and then doing £2 million online sales. Like they've been big milestones, you know, employing people on salaries, which has been great. We just like the biggest thing that's happened to us since Dragon's Den is, well, it's probably two things actually. We just did a deal with a business in Wales called Castle Howell, who are like the biggest distributor. So they've got exclusive rights to our product throughout the whole of Wales. So that's like 35,000 hotels, cafes, shops, whatever. So that was like a massive deal and so unconventional how the whole thing, the meeting went and stuff, which was hilarious. And then we're doing these like syrups as well, which will be in every single coffee shop in the country. We'll be able to make the cacao exactly how we want them to make it, because they don't have to add anything. We're going to add, everything's pre-made. They just squirt it in with a bit of plant milk, and then yeah, they can go from that base mix, which is great.
Amazing. So it's like going more in like bricks and mortar, something that's quite a big plan for the next phase of growth.
In terms of what, sorry?
Like in like retail, in cafes, like
yeah. So yeah, more B2B,
yeah,
as much as possible, because that's the smallest. That's probably like 3-4% of the business at the moment, and I'd like that to be like 99% of the business.
Yeah.
Where it's the whole mission of cacao taking over from coffee by 2032 means everywhere you can get coffee or tea, you need to be able to get a cacao as well. And for people to be, it's an education thing as well for us, for our product. It's like educating people on the benefits of it, understanding why it's so good for you, understanding it as a ritual. Even in a Starbucks, like a drive-through Starbucks, you can just still go, right, what's my intention for today? What's my positive intention? It takes 5 seconds. Do you know what I mean? What's my positive intention? I'm going to be patient. I'm going to take a breath when I need to take a breath. Do you know what I mean? Just little reminders that we need every day. Or I'm gonna choose a moment from today, which was my moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that river that I crossed, or that bird that I seen feeding on the side of a river, that's my moment. But then it can change later on in the day. There might be a better moment, and you're like, oh no, this is my moment. You don't have to be stuck with the moment. You know, it can shift, but it's like every day have a chosen moment, and just things like that just allows us to be in the present, because a lot of times most people are not in the present. It allows us to like come back to center and like, oh, I'm here. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. You know, people are just consumed with whatever they've got going on. It's fast paced. So yeah, just to give people that like little reset through this ritual of drinking cacao.
And how do you like decide what opportunities to say yes to and what to say no to? Do you have anyone that's kind of like guiding you on that, or is it all like your vision, like what you want to do, and do you kind of stick to that?
Yeah, it's all my vision. In terms of like everything's got to go through me. I'm the top of the pyramid, and it's like I've got to sign everything off. You know, this, I'm not like a control freak. Like people, I'm like crack on with that, crack on with things. But ultimately, I need to see like the branding, and when stuff's going out to press, I need to see it. Like if it's something's not right, or the color palette's not right, or you know, there's a color in there that I don't like, or some words in there that I don't like. But like my marketing strategist now, he's Adam, who you've met, he's pretty much like fully got what my vision is, and he can execute it, you know, sort of probably like 19 times out of 20 is on point, and I don't have to do much. And then it's just like, but I need to check stuff, because my thing is like, it's got to look, people have got to see my brand and remember it, because my Jaguar Tikiara is going to be as recognizable as the Nike tick within the next 10 years. Like people are going to see that Jaguar all over the world and know that it's full power cacao without me having to have the words next to it. Whereas at the moment, I need the words next to it. Do you know what I mean? But it's going to be one of them iconic symbols, which, you know, represents a lot of positive stuff, man. You know, the Nike tick represents stuff. It's like, you know, just do it, and it's like such a good thing. And ours is like full power. It's like, are you full power today, or are you just teetering along at like 30%, you know, are you achieving your potential? And if you're not, why not? Come on, the Jaguar's within you. Like, look into the Jaguar's eyes and get the power from the Jaguar. That's what we want people to be doing all over the world.
And have you felt like any pressure from like financial or from an investment point of view in terms of, you know, you need to hit these figures, and have you always like known how you're going to get there and you've never faltered, or have you found that journey difficult in any way?
No, we don't have any pressure on us in terms of like figures. The only figure that it's got is like, if I get a certain amount of profit, I get a bonus but like everything else is like, there's no pressure. And you know, I'm not bothered about hitting my bonus because the government will take a load of it off me anyway. So I'd rather just keep it in the business than have the bonus. It's like, just avoid them stealing more money off me. So no, there's no pressure. Obviously, like, there's no pressure because where I want the business to be and where I want Cacao to be means that we're smashing it out of the park in terms of figures. Like, people come in and look at what we're doing and they're like, wow, your fucking business is incredible. And then like John from Peter's team will go through stuff with me and he'll be like, tell me all this stuff. And I'm like, is that good? And he's like, yeah, that's really, really good. Like, you know, you're in the top 1% of businesses that we've got that are achieving this sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, man. Are we doing all right? It's like, yeah, you're doing good. Thank you.
And has there been any decisions that you made like really early on in your journey that you're still grateful for now?
In the journey with the business?
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to Venezuela, when I went to Venezuela to cut out the middleman that we were using. Otherwise, the business would have gone fully under. Like, if I hadn't gone to Venezuela. And it's really interesting that the girl that I took with me to be my translator, I met her at my first ever cacao ceremony in Guatemala. And she's become like my sister since then. And I trust her with my life. And she's obviously, I know quite a few people who speak Spanish fluently, but I was like, I need someone who's fully got my back. And I took her to Venezuela with me. We ended up meeting a load of different businesses there, did a deal with somebody. The price of cacao, the biggest challenge we've had is the price of cacao went up 180% at the start of last year.
Is that because the market is more demanding for it now and it's becoming
No, it was because there was a blight in the Ivory Coast and Ghana. So 33% of the world's cacao got wiped out instantly, which made the price go up 180%, which made every cacao company have to put their prices up. But if we would have still not had that relationship directly with the Venezuelan company that we're working with and the farmers, then we would have been out of business instantly, or we would have had to put our price up so high that we would have, like, sales would have just plummeted. So, you know, me hustling, and everyone told us not to go to Venezuela. You can't go to Venezuela. You can't do deals with Venezuela. It's impossible to do business with them. It's amazing. The only thing that makes it a bit difficult is the government steal more money off you because it's coming from Venezuela. They would steal half the amount of money off me if it was coming from Peru. So it's like, just because of their trade agreement, they have to steal more money from me for some reason, which again puts a small business in a vulnerable position. Like, I want to be, I'm in anxiety every month because of what the government steals off us. You know what I mean? And it's like, why, as a small to medium-sized business owner, should I be perpetually put in a state of anxiety because the government's stealing me money? Like, it's insane. It's like, I want to buy more products to make me be able to employ more people so that you steal more money from me legitimately on their tax. Like, just do it that way, because the quicker I grow, the more tax revenue you'll be getting from me. But every time you smash me with a VAT bill or smash me with a corporation tax bill, I'm not being able to employ someone and give you more money. Well, you know, every business owner, whether you like it or not, I'm a tax collector for the government. I hate the fact that I am, but I have to be. It disgusts me, but that's what a business does for the government. It's a tax collector for the government. You know, you don't give it to the employee and then they give it to the government. You give it directly to the government. So I think just not getting smashed left, right, and centre by that, just allow medium-sized businesses to grow. Like if I had 500 grand in the bank, cash flow, and I was like, I've just bought all my stock, and they went, right, we want 60 grand off you. I'd be like, okay, sweet, no problem. But I've got 60 grand in the bank, and you want 60 grand off me, which means I'm not going to be able to pay my employees at the end of the month, or we're going to go under, or I'm going to have to take a loan out, which is going to cost me more money in the long run. You know, and someone else is going to spank me in the ass with interest. You know what I mean? It's like left, right, and centre. You're just getting spanked everywhere. I'm guessing people don't usually speak this honestly about the government stealing their money on your podcasts.
Don't worry, we like honesty. And just to kind of go back to like your customers, so obviously I imagine they play like a big part in why you're doing what you're doing. Like, have you done anything intentional to kind of help build and curate a community of people that
so the trainings are a massive thing in terms of the community of like cacao facilitators, and then spreading the message of cacao in their communities and having this massive ripple effect. But then we've got a heavy duty kind of like email list as well, and then that's kind of like always giving them information, giving them value in terms of just like knowledge, content, what events we've got coming up. We also do like a community email as well. So people who've trained with us or people that we really respect, we'll advertise them through our thing, because within our community, you know, there's probably no one else who's got a list as big as ours. And it's mainly because of the BBC exposure, the Dragon's Den thing. But, you know, we've just kind of built on it. You know, we've added 10 grand to it 10,000 subscribers to it in the last 12 months, just by keep working it. Do you know what I mean? And like our retention levels are really, really high. I could chat loads of shit about that, but I don't know the technical side of it with the Clavio and everything. Better off asking Adam. But yeah, every time we put an email out, you know, we get really good click rates, open rates, which is amazing. And you know, our whole thing is just like give as much as we can, because then, you know, the universal flow means you receive loads as well. It's like just keep that symbiotic infinity loop going between yourself and the customer. It's like, how can we offer, you know, I just want to give value all the time. Like, what can we give for free? What content can we have online? You know, people always stop me and say, oh, I do your little cacao ceremony on YouTube every day, or I do your little yoga practice on YouTube every day. And it's like really helping me on my journey. So yeah, that's what
I bet it all makes it feel like worthwhile when you get messages like that from people, especially ones when I imagine sometimes they get quite personal on like how much what you're doing or what you've provided has helped them.
Yeah, when someone tells you that like you've changed their life, like, and they're crying, it's like, just like blows you away. Do you know what I mean? All the other adulation that you get for certain things and stuff, and someone says something like that, and it's just like amazing. Like that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is just to give people that self-belief, that self-power to make positive changes in their life and make better choices going forward. Like we're all exactly where we should be. Everything we've done, everything in our life that exists is our fault. And it's whether you know, if it's good, it's our fault. If it's bad, it's our fault. It's like, take responsibility and know that then once you realize that everything is happened based on your choices, you can then take responsibility and you can start making better choices. But once you're blaming people and you know, your socioeconomic upbringing, your color, your sex, all that bullshit that people find as an excuse, because there's someone with exactly the same situation you've had and 10 times worse that's smashing it. So it shows you that it's your choice and it's your attitude. If you change your vibration, change the way that you operate and work, and you know, the thing is that I have major shifts in changing people's outlook and the way they've seen things for the whole life. 60-year-old women are going, I never even knew that was a way you could think. They come to my events and then they're like a new person afterwards. And it's like, yeah, man, like that's made you feel amazing. Do you know what I mean? When you've changed an old lady's life and she's like, why was I thinking like that for the last 45 years? It's like, well, I don't know. It's your fault.
Yeah, you shouldn't do now. Has there ever been a moment where you thought, no, I'm done, like I can't do this anymore? And was there anything that kind of like brought you back out?
With the business, a lot, it's not like it's I want to get the business to a stage where I am just the front man of the business, where I'm just going back to like teaching yoga, doing my cacao ceremonies. Like we've set I'm away now from today, like I'm doing this, I'm going to go and sort the warehouse out, and then the factory is like, it's in the hands of everyone that I've employed over the last 6 months for the next sort of 2 months, because I'm away. I'm doing events all over the country. I'm at festivals, and where our factory is like a pain in the ass to get to. It's like Southwest Wales. It's 3 hours before you can even start to get to anywhere. It's 3 hours to get out of Wales.
Yeah.
So like I'm in festivals all over the country throughout July and August. So I'm not going to be back in the factory as of today, and it's been a real like big thing to work up towards that, to know that my team has got it, and for me to then just keep going forward and developing, you know, doing my ceremonies. We're going to do more international ceremonies. We're going to hit places in Europe, and that's the biggest influence that I have is in my events, and the fact that they've gone from, you know, 10 people in my back garden to 300, 400 people, 500 people at festivals. It's like, what, man? And just to keep building this event. So we got a big one. Should be our biggest ever cacao ceremony in London, the 8th of November. So we're just like promoting that quite a lot at the moment as well. We just went to the venue yesterday after the Houses of Parliament, and that should be off the hook. The amount of people that we can get into the space, and the amount, you know, I'm always like, I want to do people are like, what if you had like 10,000 people or 1,000 people or whatever? I was like, I'd be even better. The more people are there, the better I am at what I do. So like, just keep it growing, and I'm excited to see where it expands to, because it's you know, the only limitations are the limitations we put on ourselves. So it's like realizing that we are limitless.
For other like founders that are looking to build a brand that's more purpose-led, or, you know, maybe they've started something and want to pivot for it to mean something a little bit more, like how important is it to weave like your own personal story or like your upbringing like into the brand and into its narrative that you're promoting?
I think it's just like that thing of owning everything that you've done and realizing it's led you to where you are. So there's nothing that can be an embarrassment, like the worst you've done or the worst you've had it, and to realize that you've made changes can have such a. Some people are like, oh, I can't say I used to do that, or I used to do drugs, or used to be a drug dealer. It's going to be detrimental to my business. It's like, no, who are you now? That gives you a tapestry and a depth for more people to relate to you and go, Jesus, man, that guy's had it tough and he's doing really well now. Like, how inspirational is that? Rather than, you know, someone who was born with a silver spoon in the mouth and like, you know, had it quite easy. But that's not me being detrimental to people who've had that. Whatever your situation is, your circumstances, you can still make it even better. It's like Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter. He's like, yeah, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I turned it gold, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you can do that. And it's like, just for people to have faith in whatever, you know, if I'm like, sometimes people are embarrassed that they were born rich. I was like, yo, if you're embarrassed, give it me. I'll do some good with that shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's just to know where you're going. Like, a lot of people jump on this cacao bandwagon and they've got no depth to what they're doing. They've never worked with the product. They've just seen, oh, this is something that's trending. It's going to pop. Let's get on it. Get on it. That's not going to work in this new paradigm of this kind of wellness holistic industry unless you've had time and put the groundwork in and you've got an authentic story. People love founder stories now. It's a big part of it, and it's like, if you can be authentic in what you're delivering and have an amazing product that creates 7 times the value for the person that's purchasing it from you, then you're onto a winner. So it's like, be authentic with who you are. If you're not a good ambassador for your business, do not put your face at the front of it. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's like if someone was going into my brand and then, you know, next week I'm sniffing coke off hookers' backs, it's not going to work for my brand. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I've got to be authentic in everything that I do. So it's like, you can't have a business like this and then have people, you know, I don't go out. I'm not in pubs. I don't drink. I don't get off my face. You know, I'm really strict on my spiritual path and what I do, and that comes across in my business. But if you are selling something that's a party thing or a DJ, you know, you can tap into that. It's all making everything that you do relevant for your products and for your brand. And that's what everyone who works for me is like, you know, it's you. And I kind of steered away from that and just thought the brand can do its thing. And then it's actually, okay, the better I can be, the better the brand will be.
And how much, like, you give a lot, obviously, to the brand, and do you find time to switch off? Like, what does that look like for you, or do you just love being
Uh,
in it all
oh,
the time?
yeah, I guess switching off for me is like going to the spa as much as I can. Like, I just get to the spa, go to the beach when it's hot because I've got like tons of beaches near me. But it's hard to switch off. It's always it's like you've got a baby, haven't you? Or you got a
Yeah,
baby?
yeah.
So it's like, do you ever switch off from your baby?
No.
Well, exactly. This is my baby. I don't have kids. Like, this is my baby. And that's why when people do something within my business, I'm like, but I didn't. That's like you giving your kid to your friend for the day and it coming back in an outfit that you don't like. It's at food that's shit all day and it's covered in face paint. It's got like a poo emoji on its face. You'd be like, what the fuck have you done with my kid? Do you know what I mean? So I'm the same with my business. It's like, please take care with my business and have it aligned with how I want it to be presented to the world.
Yeah.
And please embed more of these philosophies and ways of being. Like every morning, a lot of people in my factory, they're not, quite a lot of them are, into what I'm doing, but it's not their main thing. So, we do a little cacao ceremony every morning. We set intentions for the day. We do a little meditation, a little bit of breath work, and then we just say one thing that we're grateful for. Everybody goes around one thing that you're grateful for. We have cacao, and then we go and put some drum and bass on and go and smash the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I suppose, like, not everyone has to be like fully on board with like how you
No.
are, because that you also want people in business to like challenge your
Yeah.
thinking a little bit as well, don't you? But I think like the things that you've introduced there is like a nice enough thing that everyone can get involved in without truly believing in it or not. Like, it's a good way to start anyone's day, I imagine.
Yeah, totally, totally. You don't have to believe in anything to know that setting a positive intention for the day is,
Good.
something that's going to improve your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's next then? What's next product wise? I know you've got some massive like events and festivals coming up, but what's next for the business?
So the next big thing for the business is we're expanding into the US via Amazon. So it's getting all the nuts and bolts of that. So every time you do anything with Amazon, it's like it'd be easier to just get the dentist to pull out all your
Oh
teeth.
yeah,
It's
it's not fun, is it?
horrific. Once you're in there, it's sweet. But getting in there is like, it'd be easier for me to get an Uzi, like to buy an Uzi and like, but it's, yeah, once you're in. So it's like the whole US launch, go to the US as well, do some ceremonies out there, push our own Shopify over there, keep expanding the European network and ads in Europe so that we can become the number one in Europe. We are the number one brand in the UK. To become the number one brand in Europe and then become the number one brand in the US within the next 3 years. And yeah, the syrups. Once these syrups are gone, like honestly, man, like it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be that's going to probably be 99% of the business, I would imagine. So that the festivals I'm really looking forward to over the summer. I'm doing one called the Wellness Way, which is in somewhere near Reading, and it's got quite a good lineup. And I'm kind of like pretty high up on the bill on that. So like some festivals I go to, I'm like low on the bill, and some I'm like quite high up. Depends what the festival is. And then Into the Wild is a festival that I really like. It's an amazing festival. Like you couldn't even get into our event last year. Like they said, we've got to get you a bigger tent next year. It was just hammered. And yeah, it was amazing. And then a festival, a little niche festival called Fairy Festival. So it's like people all dressed as fairies. That's in Glastonbury, which is really cool. And actually, some of the people aren't dressed as fairies; they dress as fairy every day. So it's actually fairies, full-time fairies.
Yeah,
It's great.
I have a great time.
There's a really cool community at that. And then what other festivals we got? There's loads of. I've got a big cacao ceremony in Leeds on the 27th of July, which is going to be about, I think it's about 150 people going to that. There's still a few tickets left available for that. And yeah, I've got one more facilitator training in September, which has got one ticket left for it. And then I'm probably going to do another one before the end of the year as well, because people are like messaging me, going, why have you not, can you not add any more spaces?
Another
Like,
dating for us.
specific amount of spaces. That's why I've sold a specific amount of tickets.
Oh, well, it sounds dead exciting. It's great to like watch people's journeys and kind of see like where they're going and what's happening next. And I'll definitely try and come along to one of the ceremonies.
Come to the Leeds one, it'd be awesome. But like I said, I've been saying to people for ages, I'm like, even like before Dragon's Den, I was like, we're not even at 1% of our potential. I still don't even think we're at 1% of our potential. I don't think we're anywhere near. Like, if you think once that pops to every coffee shop, every hotel, everywhere you can get, everywhere you can get coffee, there's cacao, and we're the #1 brand for that. Like, that's like generational wealth and the opportunity to just do amazing things in the world and support, inspire, and empower so many people to like their own personal greatness. Put more courses on, do more courses, just things that serve humanity, serve people, serve the planet, and that is the mission, man. Full power.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It was amazing to talk to you again.
Namaste.
Namaste.